Dragon Age, The World of Thedas Volume 1, Chapter 2, Races, The Humans. Summary of Audiobook Part 4, the major human tribes that came to power and how they shaped the world of Thedas, both physically and politically. The history of Thedas is rife with conflict. Elves blame the humans for their mortality and lost empire. Humans fear Qunari and their relentless march for conquest. Dwarves have too much trouble with the Darkspawn to worry about drama on the surface, and limit contact by choice. The differences between the races of Thedas go far deeper than the point of the elven ears or the squat stature of the dwarves. What's more, distinct, sometimes opposing cultures thrive within each race's ranks, only adding to political and religious friction. The only thing all people in Thedas seem to have in common is the continent they call home. Humans. Humans are the most powerful and common of all races in Thedas. But it wasn't always this way. While human history has a tendency to ignore or outright refute this, scholars believe there was a time when there wasn't a single human anywhere on the continent. The humans are said to have first appeared from the north as a single tribe known as the Romanians. It's not known where they came from or why they came. The first human settlers were met with hostility from the ruling elves. At the time, the elves were said to be immortal, and what little remains of elven history blames contact with humans for the loss of this immortality. The elves began to age and die as the humans did, a process the elves called quickening. Fearing the effect, they distanced themselves from the humans, whom they called quicklings. By retreating from their own lands, the elves allowed the humans to expand well into their continent. Growing human tribes in the north united to form the Tevinter Imperium and became a significant power. The magic users of the Imperium made peace with the dwarves, but the elves remained their enemies. Eventually, the conflict between humans and elves came to a head. Tevinter laid waste to the Elven Empire, marching all the way to the capital, Arlathan. Arlathan's destruction elevated humans to a place of power in Thedas, one they have yet to relinquish. Human influence continued to spread through Thedas with the rise of the Imperium, and then, with the rise of Andraste and her cult of the Maker. A fractured people. While humans are the dominant race in Thedas, they are also the most fractured. The race's tribal roots led to the evolution of distinct groups with their own languages, customs, and beliefs. These distinctions have been at the heart of numerous conflicts between human nations and religious movements. The ancient Tevinter religion, which revered a pantheon of dragons known as the Old Gods, clashed with the fledgling cult of the Maker. When belief in the Maker became the single largest religion in Thedas, conflicts then arose over interpretations of the Maker's teachings. The Chantry, based in Orlais, severed ties with the Imperial Chantry in Tevinter over differing beliefs regarding magic and its place in the world. The ambitions of human nations have also made for unstable borders. Both Tevinter and Orlais were at one time vast empires that threatened or outright conquered other human nations like Ferelden and the Free Marches. Scholars wrestle to explain humanity's ability to maintain power over most of Thedas, given all the infighting. Early human tribes. Tevinter Imperium, Romanian, believed to be the first humans in Thedas. The Romanians fought early battles with the elves and were also the first humans to practice magic. They settled the entire coastline along the Nosan Sea. Eventually, 3 distinct tribes broke off to form separate kingdoms: Corinis, Tevinter, and Bar-Inder. The remaining Romanians persisted under their own king until the formation of the Imperium, the first major human nation in Thedas. Corinis. This eastern pre-Imperium kingdom, an offshoot of the Romanians, was centred in the city now known as Corinis. It was eventually united under the Tevinter Imperium. Tevinter, another offshoot of the Romanians, this early human tribe aligned itself with the dwarves and eventually absorbed the Romanian and Corinis tribes to form the Imperium. Bar-Inder. Not much is known about this kingdom, which is said to have completely disappeared after losing favour with the old god Jumat. All that remains is a path in bare rock. Ferelden. Alimari. This ancient people occupied the land now known as Ferelden as members of various tribes, primarily the Clane, Chasend, and Avar. the legend Derry Callan had, backed by the Clane and some Avars and Chasend, united Ferelden and forced opposing tribe members into the new nation's fringes. Clane, a historically powerful Allamari tribe, the Clane joined Galahad to help form the nation of Ferelden. Chasend. Some members of the Allamari tribe, called Chasend, resisted the unification of Ferelden, retreating to the Korkari wilds in the south. There they continue to live a peaceful if misunderstood life in small communities. Their leaders are shamans, respected in Chasend culture for their magical abilities. Avar. Like the Chasend, some Avars resisted the unification of tribes under Galahad. They were pushed into the Frostback Mountains, where they remain a stubbornly independent people with their own customs and religion. They are frequently referred to as Hill's Men, or the Sky Cult. Orly in Nevada, Syrian. Loosely defined and culturally rich, the Syrian people prospered in the fertile crescent of what is now central Orly. While other tribes faced pressure from the Romanians in the north, the Syrian were largely isolated and remained a strong, distinct people until the founding of Orly after the First Blight. Syrian culture has all but disappeared. English. Originally the largest cohesive culture in the north of what is now Orly, the English would become decentralized to the point of wandering family tribes of no more than 10 members. Nomadic and isolationist, the English were on the losing end of a conflict with the Romanians. The survivors were largely absorbed into the Syrian and Planocene. Planocene. The Planocene were a farming people with a surprisingly long written history and a strong culture of animist worship. Many Novarans trace their roots back to this tribe. End of ZuleFandom Audiobook, Part 4 of Dragon Age. The World of Thedas Volume 1. Part 5 of this World of Thedas audiobook series will provide insight into the elves. From ethereal beings of immortality to slaves and second-class citizens. Part 6 of this series is the third and longest installment of Chapter 2, Races, and details the might of the dwarves.